This reflection on Gandhi and the Marx Freud Möbius, the psychobiograph of nonviolence, has to begin with an acknowledgement of the debt we have to number of works, number of writings, number of books, number of reflections that have come before us. We are a mere footnote to all that has been written on Gandhi. And that covers the canvas. And we can as if hardly see what we are about to share because of the long work run by Tridip Suhrut on Gandhi, Erik Erikson's work, Gandhi's Truth, on the origins of nonviolence. Ajay Skaria's work, Gandhi's Religion of Resistance, Raghurama Raju's edited volume, Debating Gandhi, Gandhian Philosophy on Theological Anti-Politics by Shaj Mohan and Divya Dwivedi, and many, many such works. Number of writings by Ashish Nandi, in fact, which is coming out as a book on Gandhi now. Have come before us, and we are a mere footnote to such excellent work. Works on the question of the political from the Indian space has also happened by many, many scholars, including subaltern studies scholars, our teacher Partha Chatterjee, and recent works by Prathama Banerjee, by Ananya Vajpayee, Aditya Nigam, and interestingly, all of them come from CSDS. And of course, the work of Sudhir Kakkar on Gandhi. All these works have come before us, and we build on them. We are indebted to them in many, many ways. It is perhaps difficult yet easier to do a psychobiograph of violence, but it's perhaps much more difficult to do a psychobiograph of nonviolence. What do we even mean by a psychobiograph of nonviolence? What is Ahimsa? When we add an A to Himsa, Ahimsa, what does it become? And because this talk is happening at KKC, it's happening with the journal Harm as backdrop. One way of presencing non-violence or ahimsa. Ahimsa would be better than non-violence. Ahimsa would be non-harm in deeds, words, and thought. Non-harm towards life, non-harm to life. A kind of a reverence for life. Is ahimsa then a reverence for life forms, and for the living in us as well. How does one do a psychobiograph of the reverence of the living, of life, is a question, and that's a question of methodology. Let's build on reverence for life. And this brings us from Gandhi to a number of works in the West, and which is why the East-West division also needs to be rethought. East-West, North-South division needs to be rethought. It brings us to Brahe-Tinger's work and her critique of Martin Heidegger. For Martin Heidegger, the human being is defined by the anticipation of death. For Brahe, on the other hand, the human being lives in the shared experiences of being born and giving birth, not the mere anticipation of death. For Hannah Arendt, every newborn is a new beginning. But for Brahe, they are already intertwined before birth with the mother and with future children, as also always with strangers, always already with strangers, always already with the unknowns. But they are intertwined before birth with the mother. So it's both new and old. There is both a continuity and a new beginning. Brahe also problematizes Walter Benjamin's pessimistic view of history with a sense of the future. And her angel is a female angel. This angel supports female care. Compassion, empathy, co-creativity in all people, in us. Brahe's matrixial philosophy opens this space for the feminine, the maternal, the co-creative, and to put it in her word, the matrixial. And once again, the reverence for life, for carriance, for a word she curated out of both care and carrying the baby, carrying in the womb the child, the future. So this is one other space, but a related one, of the reverence for life, and it comes through the matrixial, and we'll see later how the matrixial, the maternal, feminine, become important even in Gandhi. In Gandhi's rewriting of the political, or the philosophy of the political, or the praxis of the political, through the maternal feminine, through an enveloping maternalism, as Erik Erikson would put it or suggest, through the invocation of the feminine or the maternal in the political, hitherto or conventionally considered to be a space of men, for men, about men, and about masculinity, about aggression, about war even. How Gandhi rewrites the political, feminizes the political, the feminization of the political in Gandhi, and the reverence for life forms, also in Gandhi, and the connection between the matrixial in Braheitinger and the political in Gandhi. In Gandhi's own words, actually, when Gandhi was, kind of asked to give an example of nonviolence from nature, example of nonviolence from life, from history, offer a history of nonviolence, Gandhi in Swaraj put it somewhat in this form, and it would be interesting perhaps to read it. The force of love, we have evidence of its working at every step. The universe would disappear without the existence of that force, but you ask for historical evidence. It is therefore necessary to know what history means. The Gujarati equivalent means it so happened. If that is the meaning of history, it is possible to give copious evidence. But if it means the doings of kings and emperors, there can be no evidence of soul force or passive resistance in such history. You cannot expect silver ore in a tin mine. History, as we know it, is a record of the wars of the world. History is a documentation, as if of violence for Gandhi. History is really a record of every interruption of the working of the force of love or of the soul. Soul force, being natural, is not noted or recorded or documented in history. So history has documented violence, aggression, war, conquests, but has never documented love, compassion, care, carrying, carriance, empathy, soul force, love, maternal love, or the vicissitudes of the feminine. History has never recorded that. So in that sense, history is a record of the interruption in the workings of the force or the power of love. But it's not a record of the continuous stream of the force of love. It's a record of the interruptions. Battle of Panipat, Battle of Plassey. It's a record of battles. It's not a record of the continuous music of love in human existence. This brings us to the end of section 1 of the discussion, and we now move to section 2, which is titled The Psychopathology of Everyday Politics. It takes off, as you can see, from Freud, the psychopathology of everyday life. Can we, somewhat like Freud, discuss the psychopathology of everyday politics? It appears politics actually is that which will liberate us from the psychopathology of everyday life. But what if there is some psychopathology in everyday politics? What if there is some psychopathology, some pathology in politics? Is politics also pathological? Is there a problem in politics, or is politics merely the solution? That is something section 2 will look into.